Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Hey, there was some great action yesterday in the organization, AAA Oklahoma City. They were in action. Another walk-off from Jahmai Jones. We're going to cover that. The big Dodgers, LA Dodgers, did not win, but there were some good things to cover yesterday. Specifically, Noah Syndergaard, he looked a lot better yesterday. We're going to get into why I think he was so successful yesterday, other than the fact that he's just always been a really good pitcher and is very talented. So, although LA did not win, Oklahoma City, AAA Oklahoma City did. And so there were some great highlights to cover. We're going to get to them in today's show. But before we do that, just a reminder, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily. Become a subscriber. After you subscribe, click that notification bell and turn on your notifications. That way you won't miss a thing from Dodgers Daily. We can keep growing and keep providing you videos and content like this in the future, as we love to do. Okay, let's get to it. Let's not waste any more time, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. The Dodgers did not win yesterday, but Noah Syndergaard looked good, and he threw more sinkers and change-ups and sliders than he did four-seam fastballs, and that's very important to note. I mentioned it last time he threw. I thought that was the route that he was going to have to go, and the reason is, you know, in the past, pitchers were always told, hey, keep the ball low in the zone, move the ball, get moving on your ball, and locate to get outs. You know, and then all of a sudden, this modern-day technology came out, and instead of throwing two seams, the data would suggest, hey, throw the four seam. That way you get the most amount of spin rate. The ball drops the least amount as you can get it to drop, and so it looks like it's actually rising to the hitter. So a lot of pitchers start, especially in the Dodgers system, ditched the two seam, went with the four seam, you know, to pair with the slider and then a changeup. But, you know, Noah Syndergaard at only 93, 94. Okay, if he throws that four seam up in the zone, that ball is going to get hit out of the ballpark, at least if he does it too much. So he's patterned his game, at least he did yesterday. I mentioned I thought he would probably do this in the last podcast. After, you know, it's old school, okay, after location, look how he locates that two-seam on the outer half. We'll see it a couple of times in this video. And then movement, okay, that two-seam, watch how that thing rides to the arm side right there. See that two-seam? That rides, there's two in a row, riding away from a lefty. That would bore in on a righty, and that changeup. So he's getting the movement to the right on the changeup and the two-seam. Then he has that little cutter or slash slider, whatever you want to call it. There it is, back-to-back, that goes left. Okay, so he has the right turn of the two-seam. There's a four-seam, good carry on the bottom of the zone. There's that good little slider there. So he has the right turn of the two-seam and the changeup to the right. Then he has the left turn of that cutter slash slider, and then he throws an occasional changeup. So then what he does is he'll throw an occasional changeup to, you know, that just has straight tumble to pair off with that four seam that hits up in the zone. So he's kind of having to go old school at this in the sense that he's using location. Look at that location on the outer half. He's having to use movement instead of velo to get outs, and, you know, that's just a great sign that Syndergaard is still skilled coming off the Tommy John enough to execute that way. You know, hey, that's great to say, keep the ball low in the zone. Hey, you know, hit the outer half of the plate. You know, move the ball, move it away from the barrel, and go about it that way. It's one thing to put that game plan in place. It's another to go out and execute it. Noah Syndergaard did a great job of doing that yesterday, although the Dodgers did not win. You know, in baseball, you know, if you have a guy say hits 500, of course, nobody's ever done that, but just to make it easy to do numbers. If you have a guy that hits 500, would you rather have a guy that's 2 for 4 every day, or 4 for 4 one day and 0 for 4 the next? You know, Freddie Freeman, the thing about him, obviously his numbers are great. Okay, he hit 333 last year in the regular season. Then he hit 357 in the postseason. He's also hit above 300 in the last 7 out of his 8 seasons. So, you know, the thing about him, his numbers aren't just great. He's just super consistent, too, you know. So those guys, you know, it's one thing, like I said, to go 4 for 4 one day, 0 for 4 the next. It's great on the days you're going 0 for 4. It's not 4 for 4. It's not great on the days you're going 0 for 4. When you have that guy that's just consistent every single day, it's a lot easier to manage around that. So not only is Freddie Freeman just a wonderful player, he's wonderfully He's wonderfully consistent, and for that, just remarkably consistent. That's just, an unbelievable thing about him. He's a totally elite human being. He's a totally elite player in every single aspect. Every time he takes the field, I take the chance to watch him because you are watching greatness in front of you. Freddie Freeman, just one of the best hitters probably, ever to walk the face of the earth. He is literally that good. So if you were to construct a major league hitter, just do it in the mold of Will Smith. And the reason why I say that is, a lot of hitting, of course, most of hitting is timing, and Will Smith's timing is very, very, very good. But a lot of hitting is just actually swinging at the right pitch. Hitting is so difficult to begin with that if you don't swing at strikes, if you chase the zone, you're not going to be a good hitter. And there is just nobody better in the game of baseball at not chasing the zone. Will Smith makes pitchers throw strikes, and then once they throw strikes like this, he does damage to them. And there's another aspect of his game. He has that slight lift to his swing, just a touch, yes, but still he's able to cover the top of the zone, so he has the best of all worlds. Okay, he can get the ball in the air. He has a good negative bat angle, meaning the bat angle's below his hands, so he can get the ball in the air, which you would, if just looking at that, you say, well, does he struggle on the pitch up in the zone with that type of bat angle to it? No, he does not. He covers the top of the zone as well as just about anybody in the game of baseball. He is as complete of a hitter and offensive player as you could imagine. He's very competitive, too. Just watching his at-bats, man, he does not give away pitches. He doesn't chase the zone. He covers the top of the zone. He covers the bottom of the zone. As you see here, he covers up and in. He can cover low and away. So how do you get Will Smith out? I'll tell you what, whenever he is going right and hot, it's not up to you. It's up to him because he is that good of a hitter. He is in control of his at-bats every time he goes to the plate. Hey, Fergie looked good again, right? Okay, he threw another scoreless inning yesterday on Sunday, which is his fourth scoreless outing in a row. In fact, as a matter of fact, going back to spring training, he's only allowed a run in one of his 10 outings. Okay, he was not messing around yesterday. There's the one that got away from him just a touch, but he threw 13 fastballs. Of course, he threw 16 pitches overall. Out of his 16 pitches, 13 of them were four-seam fastballs that sat 95, 96. So that tells you right there, okay, that he's just trying to get the feel. Of course, you've seen some that have gotten away from him, and that is very typical. And like I've said a couple times, he just needs innings. The more pitches he throws, the better he's going to feel it, the better everything stretches out, the better he feels, and the better feel he gets. And the thing is, I'm sure his feels aren't all the way back coming off his second Tommy John, but having said that, because we've seen a couple pitches get away from him just in this video and missed the zone by quite a bit. There's a couple just back to back. And still even having done that, he has, has gone scoreless in 9 of his 10 outings. And so how about there's another one that got away from him. So how about when he does actually get all of his feels back, how good is he going to be then? If he's this good right now and still making, having pitches every now and then like that get away from him, how good is he going to be when he totally gets all of his feels back and, just is fully healthy and feels everything absolutely perfectly? So Caleb Ferguson, hey, effectively wild, I think is what you could say about him yesterday. He is absolutely battling and fighting through this early period of the season to get everything back in order, to get all the feels back, and boy, he is absolutely doing a great job. How about Evan Phillips? This is not from yesterday. I don't know exactly where this video came from, but we're going to roll with it. He threw another scoreless inning yesterday on Sunday, which going back to spring training, the postseason last year, and the end of the regular season last year, okay, this is his 24th consecutive scoreless outing. Okay, 24 consecutive scoreless outing, again, going back to last year's regular season, the postseason last year, spring training, and then so far in the regular season here in look at that. He's calling that a cutter this year, I think, but slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it, an elite pitch just like Yency Almonte. Then he can jam in on the hands, up and in right there to righties, and then back that up with that slider we've seen. And then he can hit 97, so wow, he has some serious stuff, amazing. that the Dodgers, you know, they just find guys like this. They put them in their lab. There's that little cutter pitch that is absolutely elite. Okay, he threw 9 pitches. 6 of them were that cutter you just saw right there. So he loves that cutter. He loves that left turn. Then he loves to bore that thing in on the hands of righties, move it away from lefties. So, boy, Evan Phillips, I'll tell you what, he has been nothing but elite since he's become a Dodger. Okay, enough about the big club L.A. Let's get on to the farm, which I love covering the prospects. I love covering the minor league part of the Dodgers organization. It is so loaded with talent. You're looking at Drew Avents. The Dodgers, the Oklahoma City Dodgers, have won on back-to-back days, back-to-back walk-offs, both by Jahmai Jones. We're going to get to that here later in the video. First of all, I wanted to start with Drew Avents, my man. I love this young man out of southeastern Louisiana University, originally Alabaster, Alabama. This dude can do it all on a baseball field. Okay, so the other day on, what would that be, Saturday night, he hit a first and third. You know, first and third, you know, if you just bunt that ball, then the first baseman can't crash. Okay, so if you just bunt it hard down the first baseline, then that runner from third scores, the runner from first goes to second, so you score a run, put a guy in scoring position. So he executed a first and third safety squeeze. Then a couple of innings later, he had a sacrifice fly to score a run. Then a couple innings later after that, he threw a runner out at the plate to save a run. And then yesterday, he hit a home run. So there is a just microcosm of everything that Drew Avents brings to the baseball field. Like I said, you got to watch him on an everyday basis just to watch all of the things that he can do on a baseball field for a club. He is just a baseball player in the purest form of that definition of what a baseball player should be. And like I said, I've gone over all the things he's done just in the last 2 days. He is awesome to watch. You know, michaelreed joined AA Tulsa about halfway through last year, and I'll tell you what, he got released by the A's. The Dodgers signed him, and they just immediately went to work in the cages. They went to changing his swing, fixing his swing. Of course, we all know he's a tremendous athlete with basically 5 tools of talent in the sense that, you know, he can throw, he can run. We know that somewhere inside of there he can hit for average. He definitely can hit for power, and he can run. You know, he has speed. So he has a lot of tools. He's a very toolsy guy. The Dodgers got him after the A's released him. Like I said, they just simply went to work with him. He is a very hard worker, and he had a good year last year. This is a guy you need to pay attention to because last year he had 274 with AA Tulsa, and like I said, he has all the tools. You see this home run here, so you know, michaelreed, it's going to be interesting to watch him. Another one of those very, very, very talented, very high upside type prospects in the Dodgers system, so keep an eye on michaelreed. I could go on and on and on about Justinyurchak, the young man out of Binghamton who went to college there. And, you know, he hit, as a matter of fact, the year that Miguel Vargas won the AA Central hitting crown, I should say, in that year, 2021. That year in 2 levels, Justinyurchak actually hit 365. He hit something like 40 points higher than Miguel Vargas did, the hitting crown champion, but he didn't have enough bats at the AA level to qualify, so obviously he didn't win that. But again, 2021, he hit 365 across 2 levels. Okay, then last year, he got off to just a horrendous start in June. He was hitting like somewhere around the Mendoza line, maybe below the Mendoza line, and then just like he always does, got super hot. Okay, so then he finished last year hitting 381 in July. In August, you know, he had 292 in September, then he hit 326 in August. Let me say that again. He had 381 in July, 326 in August, 292 in September. This dude is one of the most pure hitters in all of minor league baseball. If you don't believe me, just go watch him. This guy can flat hit. He's one of those tweener guys, though. That's the problem with him, is that he's basically a first baseman. They've tried to play him some in left field, but he doesn't hit a lot of home runs. So, you know, first base is kind of that position where you want home runs, but I'll tell you what, his OPS numbers have looked good. So, you know, if you could just say, hey, hit a bunch of doubles and then, you know, maybe 10 to 15 home runs, but hit a ton of doubles, he could definitely do that. And his power numbers would look okay, and they would look definitely totally acceptable for a first baseman because he would hit enough doubles, you know, for every 2 doubles, that equals a home run, right? So if you double the amount of doubles that a normal first baseman would have and then hit 10 to 15 home runs, something Justinyurchak totally capable of, and then you hit, 300 or above, you are a fantastic offensive player. He is just a wonderful young hitter. If you haven't had a chance, follow Justinyurchak because, like I said, so super excited he's in AAA. Of course, he didn't hit that ball all that hard, but I wanted to show you his first hit at the AAA level. This is Yonnyhernandez. He had a big day for AAA Oklahoma City. Another one of those guys. We talked about it with michaelreed. We're going to talk about it with Jahmai Jones, Luke Williams, Yonnyhernandez, Patrick Mazika. All these guys, hey, they're at the minor league level, so, it's all upside at this point. There is absolutely no downside to these guys whatsoever, and Yonnyhernandez had a big day. He had 2 hits and a couple RBIs, and again, he was acquired by the Dodgers from the A's in a trade back in December, and like I said, a young man that can really run. He's a talented young infielder. I love that flat path with his hands. You got a good look at it right there. And another guy that is all upside for the Dodgers, no downside whatsoever. And that infield for AAA Oklahoma City. Luke Williams is at of course, they're starting to play Michael Busch a little bit at third base, and they're going to do that more and more as the season goes on. But Luke Williams has manned that shortstop spot, and Jahmai Jones has played some second base, and Yanni's played some third base. Michael Busch has been involved with that as well. So, hey, good start for Yonnyhernandez. He's a guy that, kind of like I told you with michaelreed, keep an eye on this guy because, like I said, all upside, no downside. Adamkolarek is who you're looking at here. I love that slot, man. If you're a lefty, that's like it's coming out from behind you, and we know just how good Adamkolarek was in that 2020 World Championship Series. Of course, since then that they've made you face 3 hitters in a row, and obviously with that delivery and where he delivers that from, not totally submarine, but definitely a side slot guy that looks like it's coming from, basically behind a left-hander. If you still had that rule where he could just bring him in to face 1 or 2 lefties at a time, obviously he would be very successful in that role. But now, having to face at least 3 hitters or finish the inning, as far as that rule goes, he has to face righties, which that side slot is not affected. Look at that, how that lefty's like, man, how do I stay on this? It just looks like, it's coming from behind you. And like I said, Jam's a lefty right there. So we'll see how, his progress goes. We saw how good he was in 2020. We know that he can get major league outs. That year in 2020, as a matter of fact, his ERA was 0.95 in his 19 innings of work in the World Championship year. So Adamkolarek, another guy at the AAA Dodgers level. They love doing this. They love filling that AAA roster full of guys like him, Yonnyhernandez, Luke Williams, guys with major league experience that know what it's like to be in the show, that know the talent level, that know the work ethic, to get with some of the younger prospects. And it's a great mix because you got guys like Ryan Ward and Devin Manhunter Fiducia that are Michael Busch, that are your younger prospects that haven't made the major leagues yet, and then they get around guys like Adamkolarek and Luke Williams that have already made the major leagues, that can kind of let them know what it's like and let them know what they need to do to kind of emulate what a major league what a major league routine would look like. Of course, all the managers and all that do a very good job of that as well. But it's a great mix at AAA Oklahoma City. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead and check them out there at the Bricktown Ballpark. Of course, they're going to be in Las Vegas for the next series. But next time they're at home, go ahead and check them out because they're awesome to watch. I thought Dodgers fans would want to see Victor Gonzalez in action yesterday through 1 1/3 innings. He did give up a run. He did walk 1 guy. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on his progress, but another guy like Kolarek, we know that he can get major league outs. We've seen it with our own eyes. He has been good at the major league level in his past, and, another guy, like I said, the Dodgers love to fill the AAA roster with guys like this that have major league, and in this case, major league success, and then you just kind of throw them in that lab and you see how they do, and then you throw them in with your prospects, and you see who comes and rises to the top. There's that 1 walk that I was talking about with Victor Gonzalez. But again, Victor Gonzalez, a lefty, we'll see that, of course, last year was tough for him. He was injured, came back for a couple starts, or a couple of appearances, I should say, for AAA Oklahoma City last year. But other than that, it was tough for him. We'll track his progress. We'll keep you updated on how Victor Gonzalez is doing at the AAA level. All right, here is the show for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. Jahmai Jones, you can go to my any of my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can see his walk-off from Saturday night. You know, that day game after a night game is always tough, especially when it's very emotional, like Saturday night was with that walk-off, and you have all this energy. You wake up that next morning, and it's almost like you feel hungover. You know, a lot of veterans like to take that day game after a night game off, and here we go, right here, Jahmai Jones, walk it off, young man, 2 days in a row. How about that? Not Jahmai Jones, though. Jahmai Jones, that day game after the night game, I've talked about it so many different times. He brings an incredible amount of energy with him every single day. He brought it again Sunday. He had 3 hits and the walk-off. Watch this. I love it. Jahmai Jones, I love the energy. I love the fun. I love the excitement. And what a splash he has made with the Dodgers since he has signed with them. He scored 4 runs yesterday. He's been on base 6 times. He's 5 for his first 9. He has incredible energy. He's super fun to watch. He would have to be a super fun teammate to play alongside. So Jahmai Jones, you gotta love watching him back-to-back days with back-to-back walk-offs. How about that? So there you have it. There's our show for you today. Oklahoma City, AAA Oklahoma City, they won in walk-off fashion, 10-9. They're off today. Mondays are off days for the minor leagues. I love those 6-game series. Of course, this first one for AAA Oklahoma City was just 3 games, but what happens in the minor leagues, they have 6-game series. They have Mondays off. It makes it great for travel. I know the players, they absolutely love having the scheduled off day every Monday. It's a fantastic schedule. The 6-game series get kind of long because, you know, it feels like you're facing the same team a million different times. You know, you might have 25 to 30 at-bats off the same team just in 1 week. So that gets kind of monotonous, but I do know that the players, the management, the people putting the travel schedules together, they love the scheduled off day on Mondays. And, you know, to do that, you have to have the 6-game series. So AAA Oklahoma City off to a good start. They are 2-1. They won 2 out of the 3 games this past weekend against Tacoma. Los Angeles, they've been that, you know, I talked about the 2-for-4 guy or the 4-for-4 guy. LA, they are, you know, they're 2-2 now, but, you know, hey, they've scored 10 runs, 1 run, 7 runs, 1 run. So, hey, are we going to have that team that's kind of Jekyll and Hyde all year, or is this thing going to consistent out? But early in the season, you know, with a club like Los Angeles, with the amount of talent on it, it's kind of like a veteran in spring training. You're not necessarily looking at record early on the season. You're looking at signs. The biggest takeaway so far in this season for me is that Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw, Noah Syndergaard have looked very good. If the Dodgers have a rotation that's, you know, at the top of the league as far as ERA and WHIP like they did last year and strikeout to walk ratio and all that, if the starting rotation is good for the Dodgers this year, I'm not worried about the offense. Certainly not worried about the bullpen. I love the energy that this team is going to have. So, you know, I'm more into looking at signs this part of the year versus record. It has been Jekyll and Hyde to this point, but not worried about that. I think, you know, as long as the starting rotation continues to pitch the way it has, the Dodgers will be very good. Hey, before we get out of here, just one more reminder. If you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily. Become a subscriber. After you subscribe, click that notification bell. Turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily release a new video, you'll be notified. Dodgers Daily can keep growing, and we can keep providing you content like this in the future, as we love to do. Okay, I'd like to say, as I always do, thanks for tuning in, and go Dodgers.